we did it.
Oh! We're live.
We're live?
We're live.
Is anyone
We're live.
watching?
Mom.
Mom, get out of here.
Mom.
Mom,
Okay.
you know you and I don't have a very good relationship. Be gone, Mom.
That's harsh. That's harsh. I'm Piggy.
I'm Kitty.
We're the bitches and bitches get riches, and this is our first YouTube live.
We are so... Get out of my way.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right.
We are so professional. We are not professional at all. In this speech today, you will learn the following 3 points. The first point, I don't know what it is. The second point, maybe you know what it is. The third point, who cares? And in conclusion, bitches out.
Bitches out!
Oh,
Just kidding.
God.
This is the beginning of our live stream. Okay, so again, this is our very first one. Hopefully y'all can hear us.
We don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing, but we have a whole bottle of SoCo. So it's a
That's right.
it's a junk.
You guys,
Junk
we're in a
anyway.
state where you can buy this at a Target. What
At
the
a
fuck?
Target.
Amazing.
We were like
technology.
We were like, we gotta get some like trashy alcohol for hi Kasaya. There's a whole human.
There's someone there.
There's
Oh
a
my
whole
god.
human. We were like, where are we gonna find some trashy alcohol for our AMA? And someone was just like, well, your hotel's next to a Target. And we were like, yeah, but they don't sell alcohol at Target. Apparently they do.
You guys, in the fine and beautiful state of Ohio,
Ohio.
they sell all sorts of SoCo. This is
SoCo.
actually all right. Ohio, I am gonna read you for a hot second. This is the finest liquor. That
Wait,
was
you can't
on
wait, hold
sale.
on. You can hear us or you can't?
Oh no.
Can you hear us?
Can they? Can they not? We can hear you. We can.
Yes.
Unless that's a typo. And if it is, that's very funny.
God, I hope not. Yeah, so guys, if you have some questions, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we're gonna pass that shit over here, bitch. So we are here live at the Economy Conference in beautiful, exotic Cincinnati, Ohio.
We're together in person for the first time
I
in
know.
like, oh my god, 2 years.
It's been so long.
That's
you
too
guys.
long to go without one's essential work wife.
Mhm.
Oh no. All right. So I got a new
What?
concealer and it's really like giving me reverse raccoon eyes where they're like
Yeah, let's-
glowing in the
We need
lamp.
to turn the lights down.
Thank you. Guys, we know exactly what we're doing, so stay tuned.
Mhm.
Money, concealer, we got all the topics.
We got all the things. Okay, so this is an AMA, so you may ask us anything, but in the meantime, let's give a little rundown of our conference experience. We were late to our own live stream. Hi, Mom. Cormac is one of our moms. Oh my god, Cormac! It's like 1 o'clock in England, which is where you live.
Jolly old England.
in England. We were late because everywhere we go, this is gonna sound like a humble brag, but like we keep running into people who are
it's
like,
not humble.
it's not humble. Listen, if there's anything you know about your bitches, is that we are not humble.
We're not.
Everywhere we went, people were like, oh my god, we loved your speech this morning. We really enjoyed like meeting you here at the conference in beautiful exotic Cincinnati. My words, not theirs. So we actually had to like escape from our adoring public so that we could get up here to talk to our other adoring public on the internet.
Yeah.
Lest you forget lest you think we forgot about you. Beautiful.
Also,
babies.
fuck you if you ever think we're gonna be on time for something that is not
come on.
in our skill set. That is not in our
Hi.
core skill set.
We
That
love
is
you
not a
too, Holden.
transferable skill.
We love you too.
Do
Guys,
can we take it like a Tumblr question?
we can't take a Tumblr question.
Or
We're
do you
just-
want to yakety yak more?
Yeah, seriously, guys, like start putting questions the chat because we will answer anything, or we'll start making up questions to answer.
Exactly.
Like I'll go off screen and I'll be like, I'll ask a question like, what's under your tits? Huge.
Okay, all right.
Oh, it's not a question. Listen, Cormac, we still love you.
Listen,
You're
we
still our
do.
mom.
We do.
Okay, so why are we calling Cormac our mom? If you join our Patreon at the $50 a month level,
I don't know, but it's like the top tier.
Yeah,
So
at the top
moms
tier.
are very rare. We only have 2 moms.
yes,
This Patreon tier is called Our Moms,
yes,
where if you are in this tier, you are officially our mom because only our mothers could possibly want to give us that much money every month.
it's exactly. So
we
Cormac
have
is
2
one of the
moms, and one of them is here with us
One of them is
live,
here.
and we got to embrace her, and she's like 3 years older than us.
Her name is
so
Mama Lynn. She's like, I'm more of your big sister. We're like, barely. But
But
we
like,
do have a
don't
question.
try to stop us from calling you mom in front of a
We
bunch of people
do.
who will assume that like, wow, that woman has
Aged
children
well.
with an advanced degenerative
Here,
disorder of some
We're gonna,
kind.
guys, we're gonna snuggle in the hotel
Let's get
bed.
into bed.
Let's get into bed. We're gonna
I'll
get
bring
into
the
bed.
SoCo.
Okay, you bring the SoCo. Let's get into bed.
How's our charge? How's
Our chart.
doing?
We've got almost 3/4 of a battery.
Okay,
But we
all
have
right,
our first
we're doing
question.
well.
We have our first question.
All right. Hold on. First, I need to highlight the mascara stains on my pillow. So you're welcome, Marriott.
All right. So our first question says, what would you be most mortified for if your mom was here? Oh my God, this is a great one. Well, you're wearing leather pants, so.
Excuse me. They are vegan leather, which is to say they are plastic, which is just as bad. If my mother was here. All right, so here's the tea, okay? I don't have a very good relationship with my mother. She and I are just very, very different people. I would say my mother is an excellent parent to young children. I don't know that she totally planned for what she would be like as a parent to an adult human. I think that kind of confused her. So if my mother was here, I think she'd be incredibly embarrassed to discover that she has no idea. I run an award-winning personal finance blog and podcast. And it's not because that's like a secret that I keep from her, but rather we're just not close enough that I ever want to talk about something that I'm truly passionate about. So that's the tea. Is that too real? Have I become too real?
That is not too real. That's beautiful. If my embarrassed
we put on this makeup at like 7 a.m. Don't even, the shit is falling. Let's get in close. A lot of eyeliner where it do not go. Okay. But you know what? Primer. We primed as much as we could.
We did.
But it's still been like 12 plus
it's
hours.
It's true. And we're like filming ourselves at an unflattering angle now. We're like looking down. You can see like all the chins.
More chins.
Look at his chins.
More chins. It's me, Big Ed. Ask me anything.
Here, we'll put you up on a pillow here, kids.
Hold on, I got to think.
She's got to think. To answer the question, I think my mom would be. Ooh. We have an ottoman in our room. We're gonna look at this.
Don't give away the secrets.
Oh my God.
That's the curtains of Oz. Look at that. We're theater kids. We know how to make it work.
Somebody please take a screenshot. We're like never together. So I would be most mortified if my mom knew that I had been keeping secret from her for the last 4.5 years.
Yeah, because you're in the closet to your family.
I'm in the closet. I'm
closeted. The personal finance blogging
closet. My family does not know that about Bitches Get Riches. My mother and father-in-law found out recently, and my husband was just like, no, she doesn't want you to know about it. And my mother-in-law was like, I've been reading it. And he's just like, I think she'd prefer you not.
Please don't. He was like, do not say a word about it. Don't talk. This is like Fight Club. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, we do not talk about Bitches Get Riches. Well, you guys can. You guys can do anything.
And the reason for that,
beautiful babies.
And I think this is kind of this is validating to you. I think I'm doing you a big service here. So the reason that Piggy is not open with her folks about this is just because. So the thing that we pride ourselves most as bloggers is the fact that we can be 100% authentic with you all the time. If we don't know, we say, I don't know. If we hate something, we're like, fucking hate it. And that it's so valuable to be able to be that authentic all the time. And unfortunately, when you know that like your parents are reading, it's really tough. Now, my dad does read. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad.
I don't think he's technology savvy enough or patient enough to watch through this. However, like occasionally I've gotten a text from him that's like, so, in this article, you use this very strong word to describe your upbringing. Do you want to talk about that? And I'm like, no, I don't. But here we go. So yeah, it's tough. Like it's really hard to be your honest and authentic self to your parents, especially when like your parents have
conservative views.
Yeah.
Should we move on to our next one? We have another question. Okay, so Holden Hunsinger. Hi, Holden. How are you still closeted? You're so popular now. Award winning. See, that's a funny
Award-winning.
award-winning, internationally renowned, covered in the New York Times.
That's because someone once went to Canada and told us, I think you guys are okay. And we were like, we'll take it.
We'll take it. How am I so closeted? So it's funny. My dad actually is. Ooh,
Who knows
the
why I'm
name
a woman of
tag's coming
mystery.
My dad actually is like, he's in love with his financial advisor, whose name is Brian. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast. And he once said to me, he's just like, yeah, Brian and I are thinking of starting a finance podcast. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea.
What's a
Dad. You should
podcast?
really do
Is that like the radio?
I think it's like a radio show. It's like, well, like the fireside chat.
Is it FM or AM?
Serious?
Oh my God.
I think
You
it's
have to
on
be
the
a rich
satellites.
person to have
Yeah,
Sirius.
it's true.
I think we were on Sirius today.
we were. Oh yes, actually, at 9 a.m. today, we were on one of the Canadian Sirius XM radio stations. I don't know. We were on Canadian radio this morning at 9 a.m. We missed it because we were also on stage.
Conference where we were in the middle of giving a speech where we were yelling at our audience to be like, you need to laugh. You need to laugh a lot because it is 10 a.m. and we are high energy for you and we're wearing foundation for you. Do you know what it feels like to be walking down the street in like a full face of makeup at like
9 o'clock in the morning?
8:50 in the morning? Unacceptable.
Listen, the Economy Conference has been a joy, and Diana Merriam, who organized it, is a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
But that bitch made us go first, and
Rude.
We fucking owe her pain.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah, it was very rude. Very rude.
Exactly, very rude. Wait, I just want to circle back to that, like how my parents really don't know. It's been like a very like careful shell game. Like I told them, I was like, I'm at a work event this weekend, and they're like, oh, that's fun. You're full-time employed. Like,
no, it's delightful because where you're like, I'm not going to I'm at a work event and let you assume it's the work that you do not know about, which is delightful for me to watch as more of a, you know, as I've gotten older, I've just become like further and further away from lawful. Like, let's just go chaotic. I think everyone should age into chaos. That's my life advice. Let's end this now because the advice isn't going to get any better than that.
We have a question on Tumblr from No Feho. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name, and I'm so sorry. Maybe it's Daria Crawford, who is at No Feho on Tumblr. So live AMA question. Prepare the SoCo.
All right, I'm ready.
What is each bitch's favorite Taylor Swift album of all time? I'm so glad you asked. I don't think I have a favorite Tay-Tay album, but I do have a favorite Tay-Tay single, and that is 100% Bad Blood. Because and this is going to sound controversial, the music video for Bad Blood is basically what Sucker Punch wanted to be, but better. North Face Ho. Okay, great. Yeah, so Bad Blood is Sucker Punch in 5 minutes, but better. So yeah, that's my favorite Tay-Tay single. Also, we're here with JD Roth, not in the room at the moment, but JD Roth is.
Who's like
where is he?
He's here.
No, he's here at the con. He is like our like sexy Gandalf / a fairy godfather, and he is obsessed with T-Swizzle. So yeah, this question goes out to him.
Okay, so I quickly Googled Taylor Swift albums, and I'm going to tell you that I really only have familiarity with T-Swift as someone who gets remixed a lot. It's just not my, like, pop, and especially, like, originally, my understanding is, like, kind of country, pop by way of country. It's just not super duper my genre. However, I'm going to give you the better answer. I'm going to improve upon your question by saying, judging only by the album artwork, specifically Taylor Swift's hair, which is her best album, and I'm really prepared to answer that it is Rhapsody Originals. This hoe has like full, like it's like up to here and then out to here. Like just the perm is unreal. And she's like kneeling in a white dress that looks like she got it from Hot Topic, and she's like holding something. I don't even know. What is it in there? A baby bird? Who knows what it is?
She's
but it
stealing
looks
Amy Winehouse's
amazing.
look. That's what she's doing. We have an actual finance question. So
We can't answer that.
who said ask us anything? Including finance.
It's supposed to be weird. Your weird pervert shit.
No.
That's what AMAs are supposed to be.
Yeah, what's
the
weird
program?
pervert? No. We're going to answer.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay, so Daria says I have $2,500 in credit card debt and $2,500 in savings. Should I use all my savings to cover my debt?
Okay.
This is great.
This depends on a lot of things. Okay, so what is the interest rate on your credit card? That's the first question I would ask. So in general, there's a big cutoff around the like 7-8% amount. Where things that are higher than like 7-8%, you want to get rid of those like immediately. And things that are lower than that, you may want to get rid of, but it'll be strategically. So the reason for that being, if you just invested money in an index fund in the stock market, generally speaking, year over year, it would net like 7 to 8% pretty reliably. There are some bad years, like all the years that we've been alive.
Yeah.
However, so that in general is kind of like a benchmark of like, ooh, if you have, say, a loan that's at like a 2 or 3% interest rate, yeah, tear your clothes off of me. She's off camera stripping. It's great. So in general, if you have a loan or a mortgage or something like that that has a low interest rate, like 2, 3, 4, 5%, it may actually be better for you to focus on investing instead. However, so that's why you tend to hear that number like 7-8% come up a lot. And it's the difference between the 7 and the 8 is just like 7's more conservative, 8 is kind of more, not more liberal. It's just more hopeful, more optimistic. So it also depends on your kind of risk tolerance, which I would measure by like your emergency fund. So what's your situation in terms of like, if let's say everything bad that could happen to you just like happen all at once. So let's say you lose your job and you get sick and you get into a fender bender where you're the one who's at fault and you have to pay this money out. So if kind of all of this happened at once, could you survive that? Like, could you get through that? If so, you've got a very healthy emergency fund and you're good and you can take that money and invest it elsewhere. But if multiple catastrophic things happening at once, just like the worst timing for every possible contingency was happening to you, then I would say maybe use that money mostly to pad out your emergency fund before you dive into like repaying debt. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. I think in general, if you have a finite amount of money and you're like, should I use it all to pay off debt? The answer is always no, like because you want to have an emergency fund just in case. Like, and also like that nest egg emergency fund, so that oh, she's stripping.
Go on.
She's stripping. Look at this. She forgot to put a bra on today. It was my fault. I didn't remind her. Yeah, she's fully tits out.
And jumping jacks.
We're getting low. Oh my God, she's doing jumping jacks. God damn it. Where's that SoCo? You should always have an emergency fund, no matter what your debt situation is, and no matter how much you have in savings to like play around with, whether it's through investing or paying off debt. So if you have $2,500 in credit card debt and $2,500 in savings, don't use all of it to cover your debt, but sure, like use a chunk of it according to that interest rate rule that Kitty was just going on.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. We have another question. Oh,
I was going to elaborate because we're very long-winded.
Oh,
but
okay, but we have more questions.
In demand.
We have questions. All right. So
Hope
Smithy asks 4% rule, yeah or nah? Okay. So what Smithy is referring to is the safe withdrawal rate. So basically and also Smithy says they are a huge fan. So thank y'all.
Are like huge, like Godzilla? Are we talking like how tall?
I think they're.
Let us know how many stories tall
is
you are. No, I'm sure they mean physical
You're
height
probably right.
is really
You're
what I'm going for.
Okay. The 4% rule. This is the safe withdrawal rate in theory of when you become financially independent. So essentially you have like a bunch of money in investments, and the 4% rule is how much of it you can withdraw every year so that you're not touching the principal, you're only sort of touching some of the dividends and still allowing compound interest to do its work. So Oh, Smithy is 0.6 stories. Okay. And they also clarified that they're a Big Leaf fan, so I was right and you were wrong.
I think by 0.6 stories, you mean 6 stories.
Yeah, 6 stories tall.
Good for you.
Totally. Anyway, I'm going to continue answering your lovely questions, Smithy, because it's very on brand for the economy conference. Yes, I think the 4% rule is very wise. I think that it's really simple math. And if you want to retire early, you want to be financially independent, then yes, the safe withdrawal rate, aka the 4% withdrawal rate, is perfectly, or the 4% rule is perfectly reasonable.
Personal.
And therefore, that number could be very. But some people might need an 8% withdrawal rate. Some people might need that withdrawal rate to come from 3 million rather than 1 or 2 million. So before you decide that I need to save enough so that my yearly expenses equal 4% of what I can withdraw every year, do some considerations about your own life and your own goals and what you need.
If you support other people, if you're disabled, if you are very young, which just means that your money has to stretch for a really long amount of time, then I would be more careful. But I think the 4% rule is a good rule of thumb, which is a term I've been told not to use anymore because I think it comes from the Bible. It's how much you can beat your wife. But listen, what I'm hearing is that I, as a woman, am allowed to say, I cancel this cancellation.
We're taking it back.
I can say rule of thumb.
We're taking it back.
Okay, so I do think it's a quality rule of thumb just to give you a very rough idea of what's right for you. And then based on your individual situation, as you start to get closer and closer to that amount. So let me give you, I very quickly did some calculations. So let's say you're pretty frugal, right? And you've added up all of your expenses and you've thought everything through and you're like, if I could make $24,000 every year and not work and just make that off of our investments, then I would know that I was going to be good. I was going to be set for life. And that's enough for me living a very frugal lifestyle, but not having to work. So what that person would need in order to have 24,000 that they draw out every year. So that is 4% of 600,000. So just a little over $500,000 is how much that person would have to save up until they can draw out 4%, which is 24,000, and be all good. So why 4%? Okay, so again, we were saying that the average rate of return is 7 to 8%. So basically taking out half of that and keeping half of it in there so that it continues to kind of maintain its girthiness. Your investment's girthiness will be maintained, and you can live off of half of the proceeds. That's basically what it means.
Okay. We have more questions. Also, apparently there's a time zone issue where people think we're starting in an hour, so I really hope that's not the case.
Well, I don't even know what time zone we're in. Are we in Eastern right now?
We're in Eastern. I
can't believe Ohio's not central.
Ohio.
Oh my gosh. You guys, I used to ride horses in Ashtabula, so I feel so at home in this fine state.
Moving on, Catherine DePaula. Catherine DePaula has a question. Favorite trope and least favorite trope.
Ooh. Oh.
Okay.
You go first.
I'm going to go with a classic. So from the time I was a wee preteen, absorbing.
I sense you about to reveal something about your horny tropes, which continue.
I love Star-Crossed Lovers. I am 100% into Star-Crossed Lovers. She fucking knows this. We watched Buffy together, so she fucking knows that.
And she was like, Buffy and the Angel, and I was like,
yeah, exactly. But no, I'm a sucker for Star-Crossed Lovers. That is my favorite trope. My least favorite trope, let me think about that while she tells you her favorite.
Okay, so my favorite, I'm going to go with romantic as well. That's how I'm going to read into that, although I have other non-romantic tropes that I love more. You A-Rose, I'm on your side. However, in this case, I will answer enemies to friends to lovers. Oh my God. When they have to share a sleeping bag for heat, even though they've been arguing in the last several chapters, but it's this is a survival situation though. I'm like, yes, give me that. And I think that's because I approach everyone like a potential enemy. So it feels like a very realistic romantic progression that I'm like, No, we would form a grudging respect for each other, and then I would notice how shapely you are.
So shapely.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right,
So
least
shapely.
favorite.
Okay, I've decided in this time. My least favorite trope is the male protagonist who's just kind of a dick with no redeeming qualities, and everyone's just like, "Oh my god, I love him. He's so quirky." I think that Sherlock Holmes is a good example of this, and pretty much every iteration of that story. Dr. House. Like it's one of those things that like a woman or a queer person could never get away with in media, and like that fucking annoys me, and it's always like portrayed by usually like a white cisgender heterosexual male, and I'm like,
who's probably super attractive anyway.
Yeah, so it's just like you just get away with being a total like misunderstood asshole who's like bad socially, and people like bend over backwards, and you have like a stunningly attractive.
So like,
love
wow,
interest.
he's so brilliant.
He's so brilliant. So
whereas
he doesn't need to like learn social skills.
When we behave like erratic jerks,
Mm-hmm.
people are like,
"You're ruining your sister's wedding."
Excuse. Okay, I didn't have to think about this at all. My least favorite trope: time travel. Time travel has not made any story better, with the exception of like 3 pieces of media, which I'm not going to get deep into right now. But basically, like anytime we're humming along, working just fine in a story that does not have any kind of time travel in it, and then they're like, oh, by the way, here's someone from the future. I'm like, here we fucking go. Future Trunks is on my list of exceptions. Future Trunks can stay. Third Harry Potter book, you're borderline. You're introducing a lot of mechanic challenges to the world that I'm like, I don't know if you're worth it, but I feel like it's okay. But in general, no. Time travel is up there with like clones of clones and people stealing souls, that Kingdom Hearts shit. Who can relate to that story where it's like, oh yeah, you know, like my husband lost his job last year, so I really relate to this story about people who are experiencing memories that they inherited by being a clone of someone else's clone because they're like a shadow self of the main person. No, I don't care about that shit. Fuck all the way off. I need relatable stories about real things that are not people just like being weird clones of clones or time traveling. No. I hate it.
We have a question on our Tumblr, which is for Kitty, and that question is from No Feiho. I'm so sorry, I keep mispronouncing your name. The question is,
I appreciate your hustle.
First of all, they sent a picture of an adorable cat.
This cat is so chilled out.
This is an excellent cat.
This cat, I think I could touch its stomach, which means this cat is so relaxed, and I'm full of hubris.
Relaxed. Yes. Okay, so the question is, Kitty, what made you decide to pay off your mortgage instead of investing all that money?
Great question. Okay, so again, we were talking about that 7 to 8% interest rate, right? Where if I had put all the extra money that I sent into my mortgage into just like an index fund in the stock market, just like, hey, take the top like 500 US companies, buy a tiny little piece of each one of them, and let me reap the rewards. So realistically, we can expect that on a regular. She just farted. It was amazing. She did like a big like gesture.
I did it.
Like she really had to wrench it out. Okay, so this 7 to 8% interest rate has actually been better than usual in the last several years. So really, if I'd taken all that money that I put into my mortgage, which had, I want to say like a high 4% interest rate. So like, technically I would have actually made more money, probably, maybe, if I'd invested it in the stock market and instead like continued to just pay the mortgage. So why did I do it the other way? Well, okay, so one of the things that we're really passionate about is like not doing the mathematically sound thing, because fuck math. Math is for nerds.
Math is hard.
Math is for gay nerds.
I'm too pretty for math.
And I can say that because of all the pussy I've licked in my lifetime. Okay, so I really felt strongly that what I wanted for myself was a high degree of like emotional stability. And for me, I'm someone who really values the space that I live within, and knowing that it technically belonged to a bank who could have taken it away from me if I stopped giving them money. That was unacceptable to me. I also just don't like being in debt. The number of bills that I have to pay every month, everyone feels like someone who holds a piece of me. And I don't like that. I would like to hold 100% of the pieces of me and hand them out only on rare occasions to people whom I truly love, such as yourself.
I'm gonna hold a piece of you right now.
Hold this piece of me.
All right.
So for me personally, even though like mathematically
Yeah,
it was
yes.
like a little bit more optimized for me to invest in the market than to pay off my mortgage, I didn't care because I knew what I wanted was to own a chunk of planet Earth that is mine and mine alone. And as long as I continue to pay my state real estate taxes, which are not very cheap, as long as I continue to do that, I would forever own this piece of land and I would get to do whatever I wanted on that piece of land. And I could invite anyone that I wanted to live there with me. I could foster as many rescue animals as I wanted.
Which is a lot of rescue animals.
Too many. Thousands. I've got thousands of dogs. The police are on their way. So it just the emotional, the psychological security to me of owning my own home and not owing anyone a mortgage payment was to me more valuable. I love you. It was more valuable to me than having the extra like 2 or 3% that I would have gotten investing in the open market. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Whoever you were.
Thank
love
you. That whose question was that? Was that Daria? That was no that was no Feho. No Faho. I'm so sorry. Just forgive me.
North Face Ho?
North Face Ho.
North Face Ho.
Moving on.
She got all that Patagonia gear.
Moving on. Here's a great question. Are all workplaces toxic? Is it worth leaving one if the environment is it worth leaving one in hopes that the issues at the next one is more tolerable? So I'm going to answer this one. I'm very prepared to answer this. So having worked in several toxic
brag.
Yes, brag. By the way, I hope none of my former employers are watching this. Also,
if you are, this is for you. From me. It's not even from her. It's from me. I hate you all on her behalf.
I'm an innocent participant. I had nothing to do with that. No, I don't think all workplaces are toxic. I think we make a lot of absolutist statements about the workplace and about the economy, such as, all billionaires are unethical. And that's not because like having $1 billion is unethical. It's because
it transforms you into a super villain.
It's like Elon Musk is an edgelord out of necessity. No, it's billionaires are unethical because the business practices they use to become billionaires are unethical and inherently exploitative of the labor class. So likewise, like workplaces can be exploitative and toxic and abusive, or they can choose not to be. And in fact, we heard a great talk today by this guy, Jeremy Schneider. He got up there and it was so great. He was so nice. But he got up there on stage and he was just like, I know what you're thinking. It's another rich white male talking about how he got rich and white. And we were like, that is what we were thinking. How dare you?
He was correct.
And then he went on to say how, as a business owner, he kept running into these decisions that he could make, where he was like, I could make a decision that will maximize my personal profit as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, or I could choose a different outcome, one that will maximize the happiness, effectiveness, and wealth of my employees. And every time he chose to spread the wealth around and eschew exploitative labor practices in favor of something that was going to be good for his employees, like everyone was better off.
Yeah.
Everyone was better off. So he was a great example of someone who like created a completely non-toxic workplace just by like making conscious decisions to put his employees first.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, not every workplace is inherently toxic, but I think that's because you have to find somewhere where the employer is making a conscious decision to make it non-toxic, because it's super easy to take advantage of employees.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. I think one of the reasons that I've kind of delayed on quitting my job, even though I realistically have the means to do it, is that I have right now the best boss at probably the best company that I've ever worked for in my life. He's like super chill. He takes our one-on-ones. He's like, he'll be a little out of breath and he's like, sorry, I'm just taking a walk through the woodlands out behind my rural family home because it's a nice day out and I want to get outside, and I know that you and I are never like changed to our slideware for our one-on-ones. So like make sure you're doing that too. And I'm like, I will be doing that too. Thank you. And actually one of the biggest things that I've been working on that has again made it hard for me to leave my full-time job, even though I kind of sort of have the means to, is because they've actually put me on a project where I am dedicated about a quarter of my working hours are now dedicated to building a program that is specifically geared toward historically Black and minority serving higher educational institutions, getting those students and getting them into our corporate pipeline, and basically saying, we want to make sure that when you start auditioning for jobs, that is not the verb, but I use it every time. Auditioning for jobs. When you're auditioning for jobs, we want to make sure that you are going in with the strongest possible resume. We're going to give you this prestigious certificate, just like take it. We're going to like give you like extra career coaching and like skill development, and just like introducing you to mentors, people who can teach you how to like, okay, that thing that you're trying to say you're good at, here's the corporate-y way to say that. And I have loved it. I've really enjoyed like getting all of these young kids from like, oh my God, we have like these little like
babies,
like these little like 20 person that I want to help.
Love
so
them.
No, toxic. It's that like don't do toxic workplaces the favor of setting your expectation that they must all be like this. Because no, when you date someone who's a shithead, you don't walk away thinking, well, all of humanity must just hold your employers to a higher standard of how they will treat you.
They're not going to change themselves.
Your employees, how they will interact with the world around them. They do exist.
I'm going to tell you something. So our connection is unstable. Can you guys hear us?
Let's just keep going.
We'll just keep going. Okay.
All right.
So I worked for a company once, and recently I saw that they had posted my old job. The person who succeeded me there was clearly moving on.
That is delicious tea to sip.
It's true. So one of my former interns from that company, she messaged me and she was like, hey, can you like write me a reference for this job? I really like it. And I was like, of course. So I got in touch with the director of that company and I looked at the job description and I was like, and by the way, I noticed that you included the salary range in the job description. And I just want to say, I think that is a wonderful thing to do. That is like such a positive change that will really help decrease the gender and racial wealth gap.
Yeah.
And he said, in his ignorance, yeah, actually the state law changed. So now like all employers have to include a salary range in the job description in this state. So that's why I included it. I was like, what you're telling me is the only reason you made a change that would increase
you dumb bitch, take
wealth
the compliment.
Equity. The only reason you change something that would like actually help
that
make
would
the
impact
world
people's lives for the better.
Yes, the only is because you legally had to. So take that as your lesson that like employers won't change unless you force them to.
Exactly. And if your expectation is that they all suck, why would any of them work hard to be better? Yeah. They actually do want you. Like they really do want all of you. They're desperate.
It's true.
So you have more power than you know.
We're gonna take another question.
Okay.
So this one's from Eden's Gardener. Eden and on our Tumblr.
Who I believe is a Patreon donor.
Oh, a Patreon donor.
I remember reading their name on our podcast.
Yes. Eden's Gardener, we love you. Thank you for your dollars. You are literally paying for this hotel room right now, which we greatly appreciate because we're learning a lot here at this conference.
And we're preserving your precious money by sharing. So thank you.
Yes, we are snuggling.
We're being so frugal. We've eaten pizza, like 2 slices of pizza every single night because we're like, no, we can't waste Patreon money on the good stuff. No steak for us.
The only lunch place open, like in the building where the conference is a Chick-fil-A, and like we were like, oh,
we are not using our precious Patreon dollars to support a homo-hating institution like Chick-fil-A.
We literally
Popeyes for life.
Popeyes for life. We literally looked at the people who were eating lunch with us and we were like, I'm sorry, we can't use our Patreon money on Chick-fil-A.
We cannot
I'm
spend
sorry.
our Patreon. No. Chick-fil-A has never passed these thin, luscious white lady lips, and it ne'er will. All right. Hey, bitches, here's a question for your AMA. Is there anything you wish you hadn't sacrificed for the cause of retiring early? Is there anything that in retrospect just wasn't worth it? Thanks so much for all you do. Love the podcast. Well, we love you, Eden's Gardner.
We love you.
Okay.
You want to take this one first? You want me to take it? Because I have an immediate answer. I've told the story twice today.
Yeah.
I wish I had not sacrificed my opportunity to go rafting down the Grand Canyon.
I'm gonna cry right in front of all these people.
Listen, if you have read the blog, then you know that I gave up an opportunity to go rafting down the Grand Canyon to keep my job, and that they fired me 3 weeks later anyway.
This is like a very rare opportunity. You have to enter a lottery, and you could be entered into it for a decade or more and never get your name called.
Our friend who got the permit, so you can go rafting down the Grand Canyon on a guided tour like anytime, and but that's like not what we do. So if
you're too cool for teachers,
we're too crunchy. So our friend had waited 12 years for a permit, and when he finally got it, to guide yourself down, he was like, you and you, like, I want, this friend group on the trip. And so this was like my one shot. And
I'm sorry. And adding insult to injury, the publication that she worked for specialized in outdoor activities.
Yes.
So this was not like she was going to like a fashion publication or something and trying to explain like, no, you don't understand what an amazing opportunity this is. Yeah. They knew.
I was working for an outdoor publisher. I was working for an outdoor recreation publisher. And I didn't have the PTO. And I was like, well, I'll take 3 weeks of unpaid vacation. I'll take a sabbatical, or I'll work on weekends to make it the time. And they were like, there's no way, we're being completely inflexible on this. And I panicked and I was like, crap, I need this job. And in retrospect, I was like, I didn't need that job. I had enough money in the bank where I could have quit and been like, well, bye.
Precious Patreon donors like Eden's Gardner.
Yes.
Would have helped you pay about 3/4 of your mortgage.
They
and no other bills.
and no other bills. Yeah. But so no, I made that sacrifice because I was like, I need to have a job. I need to have a steady income. And I sacrificed that trip. And the extreme insult and injury of that is that I was laid off anyway. And I'm pretty sure that the people who made the decision that they couldn't spare me for those 3 weeks were not the same people who crossed my name off a list when they were like, we need to downsize.
Yeah.
So it was completely impersonal and terrible. And I regret that decision so much.
I think they already had planned to fire you. And that when you brought this request to them, they were like, this is amazing. Maybe we can pressure her into quitting.
God, I wish.
And then we won't have to pay her severance fee, her unemployment, whatever. That's what I think. I really do think that they had already planned to let you go and that they were treating you badly. I had a girlfriend in high school who treated me very badly in the hopes that I would break up with her because she had decided she was not as gay as I was. Few are. And I think it was the exact same thing. It's like, I'm going to treat you really badly because I know I need to let you go and I don't want to pay the emotional price for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and treat you badly and hope that you do the work for me. It's no bueno.
Can I just say something about your bisexual ass?
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys know this.
Pansexual, but go on.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was your definition now.
Genitals are irrelevant, everyone.
Look at that. You tend to be attracted to women,
overwhelmingly,
femme type people, and
women are beautiful. Men are disgusting. I'm sorry, men. Fair. There aren't any men listening. It's okay. They're all out watching their sports.
Yeah, they're all watching sports. Now that we have you alone, we attack at dawn. No, but you married a man, and every time you talk about Mr. Kitty, it's he is the best wife. He is a woman in man form.
I really found
it's the most beautiful thing.
I found man, or rather feminine, but a man who happens to have personality is arbitrarily coded.
Yes. I'm sorry, I was being very gender.
No. How dare you stop essentializing me?
Sorry.
No, it's true. And I think I have always been a kind of culturally more masculine figure.
This is true.
And it ends up being the absolute perfect partnership. But what it requires is someone who's very confident in their lack of confidence.
Mhm.
He is so honest with me when he's like, I don't 100% know how I feel about like the idea of you, I don't know, making more money than me, being taller than me. I mean, like, obviously he's worked through all that kind of
And
shit
obviously
right
he's
now.
not taller than her.
And also he loves when I am taller than him, which is all of the time, because
He's like, look at this
he's like-
giraffe I bagged.
he's like, everyone must think I'm rich because look at this tall woman. Like, he puts his arm out to go around my waist and I'm like up here and it's great. And he's like, everyone must think I have some kind of great job that I'm like, I got this tall rod. Look at me. I must be wealthy.
And
He's the
okay,
best.
so
I
as
love
a
you, Minnie.
Oh, yeah,
He's
you're
not
so
watching.
awesome.
He's replaying Hades on hard mode because
Good
he
for
hates
him.
his
Good
life.
for him. Okay, this is the difference between our life partners. Her husband is playing Hades, surrounded by dogs and probably a roaring fire. My husband is hunting elk right now, so he is like slogging through, a foot of snow at 13,000 feet of elevation by himself, like frost in his beard, very Jeremiah Johnson. And he's like, yes, I'm introverting so hard, there's no one within 10 miles. And this is the difference between our husbands. They introvert in different ways.
Also, one of our chickens got sick once, and I was like, I'm gonna go cut off her head, and you don't have to be there for it. I just I want to end her life quickly. And he was like, oh, do you think we could bring her to the vet? And I was like, vets don't know about birds. And he was like, I found a specialty vet that does do birds on a 24-hour basis. Can we bring her in for x-rays? And I was like, how dare you make me the kind of suburban white person who brings her chicken into a vet? The answer was yes. The chicken got her full set of x-rays. He's a good boy. I love him.
He is a good boy.
What are some financial ask questions or whatever?
Oh my God, we're getting some financial questions. Smithy. Smithy asks, would love to get your take on best sectors to invest in if we want to do ESG investing, but can't or don't want to buy ESG funds. So ESG is, I forget the acronym, but it's like ethical, social. It's like the nice people stocks, right?
I'm just going to go ahead and look up. I forget as well.
And for context, Smithy asks, I don't want to buy a VTSAX. That's the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index. Because I don't want to own Chick-fil-A, for example. And by the way, thank you guys for confirming our decision to not eat Chick-fil-A.
Fuck a Chick-fil-A. Popeyes forever.
Yeah.
Bitches out.
Bitches out. We only have 4 more minutes left, but we'll go a little long. We'll go a little longer.
Environmental, social, and corporate governance.
Yes. So ESG. So
whatever.
it's like ethically responsible.
Ethical investing.
Okay. So do you guys? I don't know if you guys know what ETFs are, but that stands for exchange traded funds. And they are like mini stock market indices. So there are ETFs for various sectors. For example, you can have the gas ETF, which is like all the major petroleum stocks in like one lump. You get a little mini index of those, and you buy into that, and you're only supporting those petroleum-based industries or companies. You also have God, where's some ETFs right now? I'm so drunk. I'm so drunk. I am so drunk.
Oh my God, I'm still stone cold sober.
I am on Sudafed, and I'm
you're on Sudafed.
Yes, okay. Guys, I do not have COVID. I have a head cold. It's terrible.
She has stuck so many extra long Q-tips up her nose for testing in the last 2 days to confirm
that it's not COVID.
That it is in fact just a run-of-the-mill cold, which are a thing we can get nowadays.
Yes.
I look forward to getting.
Anyway, name a fucking ETF.
Okay, well, so here's the thing, right? So here's my feeling on ethical investing.
Wait, I just want to wrap up my point about ETFs.
Go on.
Okay, so the point is about ETFs is like you can like pick and choose the industries that you want to support stock wise. And if there is not an existing ETF for you to invest in for a particular industry, you can create your own. Like Kitty has created a pet care ETF.
I have
all on my own. That is the only point I wanted to make. Move on to the next part of the answer.
Okay, so here's my thinking on ethical investing. So I think that ethical investing is a lot of kind of like zero waste, environmental, socially responsible, ethical spending, which is that it is really easy to get completely paralyzed by the amount of research that you need to do. If you are looking to invest in a company that has no problematic aspects whatsoever, no partnerships, no part of its supply chain that comes in contact with environmentally unsound things, with what I would consider to be like modern slave labor, with human trafficking, with guns, with any of the with any of these things, you will be looking for the rest of your life because those companies don't exist. Companies, I think, are like people in exactly like literally one respect, which is that they contain a multitude.
Yeah.
Even a company with a really sound, interesting ethical mission statement is going to have some unsavory partnerships. Some, oh, like you're getting your labor from Myanmar. Like, tell me more about how much you're paying them folks. So it's just like people, right? Where you make friendships with people, and they may be excellent people, and then occasionally there's like one topic where they open their mouth, and you're like, oh, I really wish you would shut up right now. So I think if you set your personal standard that you are not going to invest in a company unless they are perfectly ethical, prepared to never invest your money, and to have analysis paralysis for the rest of your life. Instead, I think the best thing to do is to try your best to make the least bad choice. Now, ethical investing means so many things. For some people, that is purely environmental. It's about their impact on the planet. For other people, it's purely about human labor and human capital. How do they treat their workers? How do they pay their workers? What, like health benefits and workplace safety protocols do they follow? For others, it's about things like how many women are on the board of investors, how many people of color are on the board of investors. For a lot of American companies, they'll measure whether or not they invest in guns, or if they're related to like military contracts. So there are a million different definitions for how you can invest ethically. And I think you can't.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, if you wanted to bring us all back to like 1993, you could.
'Cause it's a bittersweet symphony that's life.
They don't hoo-hoo. That was my little Michael Jackson bit that I brought. Okay, so basically, at the end of the day, if you're not actively investing in companies that you know, their mission does not align with what's interesting to you, that's great. And if you want to invest in specific funds that are aimed at ethical investors, that's also great. Know and become comfortable with the fact that that does not mean that they are exclusively going to select companies that are like, that pass some kind of purity test. They're not going to. Like, no company is going to. No investment is perfectly ethical. That it just does not exist. So instead, I think you need to like lower your standards and say, I would like to invest in the least harmful way that I realistically can. How can I do that? Because what you do is, first of all, you're putting money into the pockets of people who are at least sort of trying.
Yeah.
At least sort of trying.
Points for effort around
is
here.
Really like B for effort. Go for the B for effort. Don't hold out for the A for efforts. Those people are at least making an effort. And if you are bought into that stock, you now have a voice with that company. And if there's one thing that you don't love about their supply chain, you can tell them, hey, I wish you didn't do this. What if you thought about it differently? Whereas if you're not invested, you're just a nobody to them. And the other thing is that when you grow your personal wealth, which is something that we hope all of our readers and listeners do,
Yes, 100%.
That is giving you what I think of it as sort of an island, and like a tiny island. This is the size that I'm making here. Let me just display. So you're making this tiny little island in the middle of a tempest at sea. By William Shakespeare. Shakespeare. The famous Italian playwright Shakespeare. So you have this little island, right? And when the waves are 20 feet high around you and you see people capsizing left and right, if your island is this big, you can really only fit yourself, right? And so you have to wait to invite other people on board. As you grow your wealth, your island gets a little bit bigger over time. And you can say, hey, you, I own my own home. And I see that you're in a rough financial position. Would you like to come and stay with me? And I will charge you no rent, or I will charge you below market rates for rent so that you can gain stability over the next year. That's something you have the ability to do.
Done. My roommate lives rent free with us.
We call ourselves the home for wayward queers because we just have a rotating cast of them. So as you like grow your own personal wealth, you will have greater ability to see people who are struggling in your life, in your community, and you can reach out to those people and help them. And that to me, I think is worth the occasional like, oh, well, when you look at it through this particular lens, you see that actually this stock that I'm invested in is great in every way, except they're environmentally not as conscious as I wish they would be. And it's like, you know what? Well, that's life. We cannot set perfection as our goal for things. I talked too long, but hopefully that was helpful to you.
It's okay. After that amazing question, we're going to take an even more amazinger one.
Okay.
This is from an anonymous Tumblr follower, and I really wish they had put their name to this because this is a very important question. Here it is. If you could swap boobs with any celebrity, who would it be? And here's the thing, folks. When you are as physically gifted as I am, with a perfect
You have the
set
tits of an
breasts.
angel.
I have the tits of an angel.
Tits of an angel.
So
I've seen them many times. They're old news to me.
Roommates. No, I'm gonna take. Listen, I'm just like drunk enough to be maudlin. I would not trade tits with any celebrity because it has taken me a lot of time to get as comfortable with my body as I am. I love my boobs.
Yeah.
My boobs are great.
I agree. Like your breasts are objectively amazing. I'm also wondering, so let's say I choose a celebrity who has like a darker skin tone than me because lighter isn't really an option.
Oh yeah, you
are we talking about like a hard line? Is there going to be a hard line around the bosom?
Or
do I just inherit the shape? Okay. So here's the thing. I'm a very slender person. That is not because I'm like an amazing athlete who's physically active. It is because this is the body shape that I was born with, like fucking all of us. I am the shape no matter what I do with myself. I can be completely sedentary, and this is the shape that my body is. And I have what I like to call my barely bees. And you know what? I feel the exact same way. Like the older that I've gotten, the more I've been like, actually, I'm highly hot. I was not a hot 20-year-old. I'm going to be the world's hottest 40-year-old. And that's really how I feel. Do I think Christina Hendricks has a rack that could launch 1,000 ships? Obviously, because look at all these boats coming in.
Christina Hendricks is a very talented actor. And also, holy shit.
Christina Hendricks is a very talented actor.
No, she really is. But
do I want like no
her like triple Z size?
Seems like a lot of back pain.
Yeah, I actually knew somebody who got breast reduction surgery.
I'm gonna say I knew someone in high school where she flashed me once, and I was like,
"You were blinded?
Give me those." So Katie S., who I went to high school with, your boobies. No one else's, please. Be really happy with the body that you have because it's a fucking gift.
Yes.
And no matter how weird your titties look, excuse me, get out of here, you hetero woman.
Woo!
As a mostly gay woman, let me say, no matter for the ladies and the femmes and the miscellaneous in our audience who would identify with those previous monikers. So if you think that there's something about your body that's weird or not lovable, you're incorrect. You're just factually incorrect.
I love your body.
And you need to take I never said something to me.
Yes.
I'm thrilled. Just the one. That's all I need. Holy cow. There's a woman who's willing to be fully or partially nude before my very eyes.
I feel like they have spider sense. They're like, there's a naked woman.
I'm thrilled. Guys, your bodies are gorgeous.
You are. Please don't.
I have these
do your
tiny
body.
ass titties, and they still have like stretch marks and things, and like my nipples are kind of weirdly pale
It's true.
and
they
a
are.
little
I've seen
flat.
them.
It's fine,
It's fine.
guys. No matter how the fuck your bodies are, they're gorgeous. They're perfect. They're exceptional. You don't need no celebrity titties.
Love your
Although
rolls.
Christina Hendricks,
Well,
sure,
I mean,
take them.
yeah,
If she's offering them, sure.
if she's
fine.
offering them, love your rolls. Love your
Love 'em.
creases. Love your weird stripy bits. Like it's great. Love your your oddly darker patches of skin. Like I love it. I love you.
100%.
Now let's get on to another very very important question.
Okay.
This comes to us from an anonymous Tumblr reader. They say, Piggy, you have to choose a 5x5 inch tattoo for Kitty, or the world is going to end. What's she getting? Kitty, same question in reverse.
Okay, now we're choosing it, or the world will end. Does this mean that it has to please you?
I mean,
Or like, so the world will end if she doesn't get the tattoo? Is that
let's
all it means?
say,
Or do I have to know what tattoo you would be like?
yeah,
good job.
Let's read into this because we don't have confirmation on this. So let's read into this as what do you think the perfect tattoo is for each other?
Okay.
Okay, so yours is going to be horse based. Okay.
Thank you.
So it's going to be Black Beauty and Rainbow Dash and the unicorn from the wait, no, not Rainbow Red. Oh, Applejack. That's your favorite. Yeah.
There you go.
It's going to be Black Beauty,
There you go.
Applejack from My Little Pony. Yeah, I know her fucking pony.
And the Lady Amalthea. I'm helping you out here.
Oh, the Lady Amalthea,
Mhm.
aka the unicorn from The Last Unicorn
Mhm.
by Peter S. Beagle. It'll be the three of them, like in like an almost Charlie's Angels-esque pose, but like horses. So like they're all like rampant. Yeah, exactly.
Rampant.
Like
you medieval literature nerd. They're rearing. The horses are rearing.
And it'll be like right on her breastbone. So it'll be like, I know it said 5x5 inch, but like right here. Like I have a friend who has like an owl tattoo right here. But so imagine like the Charlie's Angels-esque like three like horse/unicorns like rampant.
Yeah. I have heard that is one of the most painful places to be tattooed, which I'm taking as a compliment that you're like, she has a pain tolerance that just won't quit.
I just want to see you wearing a slightly low cut shirt, like your little horse is poking up. So that's the tattoo that I would make her get to prevent the end of the world. What would my tattoo?
I think we can agree that crisis averted. that would work. I'm going to say for you.
This is harder.
I'm going to say, you know what? I'll go with the threes as well.
Oh, okay.
So here's my threes.
Ooh.
We can't put this on your chest because your titties are going to get in the
again.
way.
Perfect rack.
So I think straight across the forehead.
I don't think it's big enough. It's 5x5.
We're hiring a tattoo artist who's great attention to detail.
Go on.
I'm going to say Ani DeFranco and Sailor Mars making out with Angel.
Ooh, okay.
Like sort of like locked in a like
a
lusty throuple
menage a
embrace.
trois.
Yeah. I actually my Christmas gift to you. Okay, well this is a surprise, but it's a little early. But my Christmas gift to you is this fan fiction that I wrote on the very subject. Here you go.
Oh,
put that in your spank bank for later.
You shouldn't have.
Was the world saved? Guys, I'm sorry. The world's over. So
Forehead? You said wait.
On your forehead.
You said Sailor Mars and
Ani DeFranco.
Ani DeFranco
locked in a sort of like
menage a trois
with Angel.
Season 1 Angel?
No, season 2 Angel.
Okay.
You know, the interesting one.
The interesting one. Bitches out!
Woo! Wait, is that the end?
I don't know. I think. I mean, we committed to an hour, but
that's pretty close. Let's do one more thing.
Let's do one more thing.
Just one more thing
for
the loyal fans, and also for the people who don't understand how time zones work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we were informed that this might have seemed like a time zone to people. So if you guys have one more question.
Yeah, if anyone who is on there right now, we're going to vamp for a moment. And if anybody's got a question, pop it in.
Vamp.
Otherwise, To me, like, vamping is like, we need to become like Vampirella. So let me push them together. Imagine a very bold red lip.
Oh, wait. Okay. So you guys know what Vampirina is? Apparently Vampirina is like a cute little kid's cartoon where she moves from Transylvania to Pennsylvania, but she's a little vampire. And my nephew was Vampirina for Halloween.
That's very cute.
He was very cute. And like he had this little dress on with little stripy socks and his little like vamp horns. And
It's fucking cute.
he was adorable. Yes, and I did say he because I really want to normalize like children having like gender whatever Halloween costumes. You know what? Like I want that for kids. So I am really encouraging. Well, his parents are trying to raise him as gender neutral as possible, but that means him wearing dresses sometimes, and I really love that.
Yeah.
Because it makes him happy, and when my nephew's happy, I'm happy. Oh, wait.
Okay. I have one more question. We're part of a couple and we're feeling it strapped right now. Erotic.
Strapped.
And one of us is in grad school. We expect a return on the dank lifestyle soon. I'm sure you'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
How worried should we be about going into savings or even taking out loans right now when it's temporary?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, like I love this question because it's very much
Grad school, don't go to grad school.
We did not go to grad school.
And
listen, grad school, we have
very quickly, the difference between the unemployment rate for people who have gotten their 4-year or equivalent degree versus people who have gotten their master's is 2.9% versus 2.3% unemployment rate. Meaning you have just spent a fuck ton of money
for not a huge return.
For a very, very, very small return. Now, if
That
you've
said-
done your research and you know what you want to do with your life and you know that it requires a higher degree, fine. Have faith in that conviction. However, if it's just like I want to do this just to like continue my education and maybe and
learn something I want to
and
learn
maybe
about,
improve my
okay, that's right.
employability, absolutely. So many employers will look at you and say, "Whoa, this person has a master's degree," or about like, we can't afford them. They're going to leave the company immediately because we're only hiring an entry or mid-level role. Like, no, unless you have a very, very strong industry-driven reason for going to grad school, do not go to grad school. Yeah. Okay, now let's continue with the other one.
Everyone should read our article called 22-Year-Olds Do Not Belong in Grad School. That is about the difference between like industry necessary grad degrees and non-industry necessary grad degrees. That will answer all your questions. So if you want to be a fucking archaeologist, yes, you have to go to grad school. If you want to be a doctor, you have to go to grad school. Like there are certain jobs or career paths that require grad school. Entomology, yes, you need grad school. You're fine. Entomology, study of bugs.
I know about bugs. I'm just questioning.
No, I used to. Is
that kind of akin to archaeology in terms of like?
Yes. So any of the scientific fields, really. Okay. So I have edited a book on entomology. It's called Entomology and Pest Management. I know. I actually really enjoy freelance editing super academic books because I learn a lot and there's no nuance in the writing. So it's just like pure copy editing. There's no wondering about maintaining the author's tone or anything. Anyway. What was the question?
Okay, so we're talking about what do we do if we are in a couple and we're strapped and we're in grad school?
Is it okay to
can we basically I'm just gonna go ahead and extrapolate that into can we go into debt?
Yeah.
To maintain this lifestyle in the short term. I think the answer is yes.
I do too. I think if you have a plan and you know that you're going to get a return on that investment that is your education, yes, be careful about it. And I also want to make the point that consumer debt, which is the kind of debt you get into with credit cards.
And when you just go to,
I'm buying a car.
Ruby Tuesdays every night. Applebee's forever.
That one's for you, Joe. There's a difference between consumer debt and student debt.
Yeah.
There is a difference between consumer debt and a mortgage with a fixed interest rate. There are forms of debt you go into because you know that you will come out financially better on the other side. And there are forms of debt you get into because you are ignorant or desperate.
Yeah.
And consumer debt is the ignorant and desperate kind. So honestly, going into savings, going into debt to afford an education that will someday net you a significantly higher income, like, yeah, I think that's a good use of debt. And I know that there are financial professionals who want to be like, all debt is bad. And like, I just want to say it right now while you're looking at my face. Fuck you, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, fuck off, Dave Ramsey, with your fucking cult.
I could not have afforded an education unless I went into debt. So I don't regret that decision. Sorry.
Yeah, I think fundamentally it comes down to, first of all, an understanding of your industry, that you know that if I get my master's, I can definitely work in this field. People are actively hiring in this field, and that maybe I would have the flexibility to, like, I could easily move and still get jobs. If it's extremely niche and it's more about like, this is the top level of prestige in my industry and I would like to attain it for my own reasons, maybe not so compelling from a financial perspective. At that point, it comes down to being an emotional decision that for you, attaining the top level of your field isn't so much about getting a return on the investment of your education, but rather about like, this is an important life goal to me. That may be a good thing for you. For a lot of people, I think they often go into one thinking it's the other, and that's kind of where the problems start. So I think as long as you have a deep understanding of your industry, and the best way, if you don't know kind of how your industry processes, setting up informational interviews, which we have a ton of articles to talk about this. Go to our site, bitchesgetriches.com, and search for the phrase informational interviews, and you will get several articles that we've written about how to ask people these kinds of questions, where you're basically coming into people who are a few years progressed in the career that you want to be in and say like, hey, how'd you get where you are?
Yeah.
Was your master's 100% necessary? Like, did you get into this? Like, you know, how did—
Tell me the secret sauce.
So basically, our feeling is that like any investment that you make kind of counts as a kind of savings, as an investment in your future. So if you are investing in your education, good for you. You are probably in the long run making yourself more employable, probably smarter, probably happier, all good things to be.
We want these things.
However, some of those returns on investment might be 2 or 3%, and some of them might be 500%. We don't really know. It depends entirely on you, what you want out of life, and also the industry that you work in. So I think it comes down to, have you really done your research? Have you talked to people who have not just been studying this field, or maybe not just professors in this field who I think are maybe sometimes just a little slightly out of touch? Or have you like talked to people who have the kind of jobs that you want? Have you done all the internships and other things that don't require that higher education that you've already gone out and checked? Like, yes, 100%, this is what I want. Then yes, it can be worth it to go into debt to get through something like grad school. And I think it comes down to knowing what it is that you want out of life.
Yeah, 100%. Know what you want. That's the answer to so many stupid questions. Listen, there are 3 topics in careers and finance. We've covered them all. And I think knowing what you want is one of them.
Yeah, fundamentally, here's the thing that is amazing. If you're wrong and you spend, let's say, $20,000 to take another year of grad school and pay for your living expenses through a student loan. If you find out that job or that industry is not for you, or you get really burnt out, or something comes up with your health and you have to go on disability, like there's so many things that could happen to you in your life. How do you contextualize that mistake? And for me, I think we've talked a lot recently about how like there are many things that we've done wrong that are definitely, like, anyone would agree, like, this is a bad choice that you made. However, maybe it was the right bad choice to lead us to a new understanding of how we like make and defend the money that we do have, and how we choose to value ourselves.
Brilliant. Look at this bitch.
Oh, thank you. I run this little blog. You may have heard of it. How much it positively impacts your life, even if it's not like technically the right choice, right? The final choice, it can be okay to make a financial mistake. And sometimes a mistake that seems huge, you make a $2,000 mistake. Here's the thing. If the lesson you take away from that is cheaper than the $20,000 mistake, you're good.
You come out
If you
ahead.
make a $20,000 mistake, it's okay. It might save you in the future from a $200,000 mistake. So don't beat yourself up in terms of like, I have to do everything right. Life offers us endless opportunities to make more money, to fix our past mistakes. So don't hold yourself to too high of a standard, okay? We love you.
Yeah, we love you guys.
Drink SoCo. Fuck
Drink
off.
SoCo. This concludes the presentation.
Yeah.
Bitches out. But seriously, love yourselves, love each other. It's hard out there, so go easy on yourself.
That's
You
right.
guys are the best. This has been our first live stream.
Yeah. This is kind of embarrassing, but unless you liked it. And then it's not embarrassing at all. And then it's amazing.
It's amazing, yes. Please subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, if we get 100 subscribers, we get our own URL, which that's what I want.
Yeah.
Please, like, send it to your Gma and be like, Gma, please.
Gma.
I know you
Gma,
don't know what I mean when I
please.
say subscribe to this channel. Like, subscribe,
No,
hit the bell for
don't even-
notifications.
Don't even send it to you. Go to your Gma's house and be like, hey, Gma, can I look at your computer for a minute?
Can you make me lasagna while I do the following for you?
Yes.
Guys, break into your Gma's house late at night.
No, don't break in. Listen, your Gma wants to see you. So put a mask on,
Yeah.
go to your Gma's house and subscribe to us on her computer.
And scream at the top of your lungs, Gma, I'm not an intruder. I'm your precious
Gma,
son.
Bring me more Sunny D, Gma.
Gma, I miss your cherry pie, Gma. Oh no, that sounds erotic. I'm sorry, Gma.
Love your muffin, Gma.
I'm canceling us. We're canceled.
We're canceled.
Please contact
This is the end. of
cancel
Bitches Get
culture
Riches.
at theyouthoftoday.com and tell them about us.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us for our first live AMA. I promise we will do this again, but we do live on opposite sides of the country, so we probably won't be together for the next one. Thanks to COVID, we haven't seen each other in like 2 years.
Okay, well, subscribe to us on Patreon and give us that plain fair money.
Yes, give us that
delicious
plain fair
money.
So we can share.
Can
it
we be
then.
shameless whores? Please subscribe to us on Patreon. Patreon.com/bitchesgetriches.
Subscribe, please. It only takes $1. All right, bitches out.
Bitches out.
Good night, everyone.
Bye. I think we're cute.